For a long time, the courtroom felt predictable. The prosecution spoke with confidence. The narrative felt stable. And the jury listened in silence. It looked like a case moving steadily toward one outcome. Until a single moment changed the atmosphere. Not a confession, not a dramatic outburst. Just one question that no one could answer. This is the moment the Luigi Mangione trial began to fall apart. By the third phase of the trial, something subtle had shifted. Jurors were no longer leaning back. They were leaning forward, not because they were convinced, because they were confused. The evidence they were seeing no longer fit together. The timeline didn't align. The digital data contradicted the witness accounts, and the prosecution's story was beginning to show strain. For the first time, the courtroom felt uncertain. The turning point came during the cross-examination of a key investigator. This was the officer who had built the original timeline, the one who decided when Luigi left his apartment, when he supposedly arrived at the victim's house, and when the crime must have happened. For weeks, this timeline had been treated as fact, until the defense asked one simple question. How did you calculate the exact time of death? The investigator paused. Not long, but long enough. He explained that the time was estimated based on body temperature, a neighbor's statement, and an assumption about when the lights went out. Assumption. That word hung in the air because the entire timeline rested on it. The defense followed up. They presented a medical report that had never been shown to the jury before. It suggested the time of death could have occurred nearly 40 minutes later than the prosecution claimed. 40 minutes. That was enough. Enough to place Luigi back in his apartment. Enough to make the phone data suddenly make sense. Enough to collapse the narrow window the prosecution had built their entire case around. The courtroom went quiet. Because this wasn't a theory, it was a documented possibility. Then came the juror reaction. One juror stopped taking notes. Another exchanged a glance with the person beside them. Small gestures, but telling ones. This was no longer a story about proving guilt. It was a story about proving certainty, and certainty was disappearing. Next, the defense challenged the prosecution's handling of alternative suspects. They asked the lead detective, how many other individuals were fully investigated? The answer was uncomfortable. 2. Only 2. Out of dozens of people who had access to the victim. Friends, co-workers, former partners. Most were never interviewed in depth. Some were never interviewed at all. Because by the second day of the investigation, police were already focused on Luigi. The detective admitted it, not proudly, but honestly. We believed we had our suspect. Believed, not proven. The defense then revealed something even more troubling, an internal memo, written early in the investigation. It stated that once Luigi became the primary suspect, other leads were labeled low priority, not because they were cleared, but because they no longer fit the working theory. This wasn't corruption, it was tunnel vision. And tunnel vision is one of the most dangerous things in any investigation. Then came the moment no one expected. The prosecution called a forensic technician to reinforce their case. They wanted to show that the lack of DNA didn't matter, that criminals often leave no trace. But during questioning, the technician admitted something critical. Several key items from the crime scene were never tested. Not lost, not contaminated. Simply, never analyzed. Because investigators believed they already had the right man. And that admission landed hard. Because now the absence of evidence was no longer neutral. It was a choice. By the end of the day, the courtroom felt different. The confidence was gone. The narrative was fractured. And the jury was no longer asking, did Luigi do this? They were asking, how sure are we that he did? And that is the most dangerous question for any prosecution. Outside the courthouse, the media began to shift. Headlines changed tone, from strong case to growing doubts. from prosecution confident to defense gains ground. Public opinion, once settled, began to move, slowly, quietly, but noticeably. And inside the jury room, something even more important was happening. Doubt was spreading. Not dramatic doubt, not emotional doubt. The most powerful kind? Reasonable doubt. This episode of the Luigi Mangione trial is not about innocence. Not yet. It's about something more fragile. Trust. Trust in the investigation. Trust in the process. Trust that every question was asked before a man's life was placed on the line. Because once that trust breaks, verdicts become dangerous. The case is no longer about what happened that night. It's about what happened in the days that followed, the decisions that were made, the leads that were ignored, the assumptions that hardened into facts. And now, the trial stands at a breaking point. Because if the timeline is wrong, if the investigation was incomplete, if key evidence was never tested, then the question is no longer, is Luigi Mangione guilty? The question becomes, did the justice system fail before the trial even began? The verdict is still coming, but the certainty is gone. And in a courtroom, certainty is everything. Every case leaves a shadow. Every mystery deserves a voice. This is Shadow Case Files.